Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 281 based on novel. So let's start. Let's go now, it's too late. Duan Tianyang snorted coldly after turning into a black mist, and immediately focused his attention on Duan Qifei and Xiao Yang. Of the two of them, one is the controller of the holy flame, the other is the reincarnation person, and their strength is only 2-star Doshian perfection. It is naturally easier to kill them than to deal with Tian Hong. The next moment, a group of dazzling energy suddenly stretched out from the black mist, and immediately turned into a black palm, whistling away towards Xiao Yang and Du Qifei. The giant black hand just appeared extremely weak, and then it swelled hundreds of feet in an instant, with the size of 100 feet. On its palm, countless dense black lines emerged at a slow speed. With the blessing of this mysterious rune, the power of this black palm is undoubtedly a higher level. Boom! The attack of the half-step 5-star fighting immortal powerhouse was far beyond what Xiao Yang and Duo Qifei could handle in terms of speed and power. Before they could react, the attack came to them. Lei Suo Celestial Burial. A blood red appeared in Duan Tianhong's pupils, and his expression was extremely strange. From the beginning to the end, he never thought that the traitor of forging Dao Lei Jiyu would actually be the Vice Jiyu who is as strong as a half-step 5-star fighting immortal. Lord, forcibly endure the injury in the body, and take action. Crash. Although Duan Tianhong was injured from the battle with Yohuan just now, he couldn't care too much at this moment. The dazzling silver thunder suddenly burst out from the body, and then swept out of the sky. In the middle, it was engraved into an incomparably huge milky white silver mirror, which suddenly attacked the resistance against Du Tianyan's black palm. Boom boom boom. The two just collided, and suddenly circles of silver thunder and strange black gas suddenly spread out from the center of the explosion. Affected by this fluctuation, even Samsung Dozian would probably turn into powder in an instant. What's going on? Du Qifei was at a loss at this time, apparently not knowing what the situation was. It's too late to explain. Let's go. At this moment, Xiao Yang's khaki-colored holy flames emerged in his body. With the addition of soul power and vindictive energy, the 3 powers were added to his body. Under the black mist, he seemed extremely weak, but it was too late to explain. Not to mention the 5-star fighting immortal powerhouse, even the battle of the 4-star fighting immortal powerhouse is not something they can handle. Their top priority now is to leave here and not increase the pressure on Du Tian Hong. Xiao Yang believed that without the obstruction of the foreign evil clan, Du Tian Hong, who was at his peak, should have a plan of his own. Crash. The black palm and the thundering silver mirror suddenly shattered, and in the space, a sense of shattered etherealness emerged one after another, which made one's heart palpitate. The strength of the forged knife Thunder Valley Master is really tyrannical. However, this is strong outside the middle, but it won't last long. The next moment, the black mist in the sky suddenly opened its mouth, and the eerie voice filled the air. He naturally knew that Duan Tianhong was restricted by the evil clan in his body, and because he had just been with Yohuan fighting, adding the two together, Duan Tianhong couldn't hold on for long. When they heard this voice, Xiao Yang and Du Qifei's hearts sank, and an oppression hit. Humph! Who are you? Where is my second brother? Duan Tianhong snorted coldly and asked. Who am I, does it matter? As for Duan Tianyang, I'm afraid it has already turned into a part of my body. From the black mist, there was an eerie sound, which was terrifying. Bastard! Hearing such a voice, Duo Tianhong clenched his fists tightly, and a chilling meaning filled the air. Who is this guy? This breath seems to be the powerhouse of the Soul Palace. Xiao Yang and Du Qifei kept retreating, but at the moment of retreating, Xiao Yang also sensed some of the identity of Hei Wu. If I expected it well, this guy should be the Soul Guard of the Soul Palace. At this time, the voice of the Soul Eater also filled the air. Soul Palace Soul Guard? Xiao Yang heard the words and couldn't help but be surprised. Although he knew that Soul Clan and Soul Palace were two forces, there must be more or less close connections between them. In the Soul Palace, there are many divisions of strength, and this Soul Guard is one of them. It is said that the strongest Soul Guards in the Soul Palace are all the strongest, and there are only one hand, but the weakest is also a 5-star fight. Immortal level. The Lord of Soul Eater said solemnly. Master, what should I do now? Xiao Yang nodded slowly when he heard the words. Obviously, in a battle of this level, unless he did his best, he would have no chance of winning. Let's wait and see what happens first. The ghosts are arrested, and the Soul Guard of the Soul Palace appears. I am afraid that the crime will also appear. For this level of battle, although it surpasses your own strength by too much, it has great benefits. Maybe you can rely on the silver lining in life and death to realize the existence of the domain. After all, your holy flame space is basically a small field. As long as you take advantage of the right opportunity, the real field is at your fingertips, and after mastering the real field, it is enough to make you a bright and really big leapfrog battle. Although the field of possessing, at least the strength is to reach the 5-star fighting immortal, but you have burning determination and many mysteries, you can't use common sense to infer. The Lord of Soul Eater smiled. If that's the case, then let's wait and see. Xiao Yang heard the words, and there was a trace of fiery in his heart. Although his current strength is only a 2-star perfection, but the 2 holy flames in his body, coupled with the fighting spirit and dragon transformation, and many means, even in the face of the ordinary 4-star fighting immortal level of foreign evil clan, I am afraid that it is possible to have a battle. It's just that if he wants to obliterate the powerhouses of the extraterritorial evil clan, the current Xiao Yang is far from enough. Don't worry, you'll be down to accompany him soon. Suffer to death. A cold hum rang out, and in the black mist, a monstrous black chi emerged, and a tyrannical offensive was brewing. Damn. Du and Tian Hong's injuries are not light. After all, most of Yohuan's attacks are based on soul power, so it is difficult to recover in a short period of time. Born Soul Lock. Blood Heaven. And the Soul Guard in the black fog naturally sensed Duo Tian Hong's subtle actions, and immediately refused to give him any way back. In the black fog, bursts of lamentations sounded, and then a full 100 meters long. The blood-colored chains suddenly emerged. The blood-colored chains had just emerged, and suddenly in this space, a ****** and gloomy fluctuation completely filled the air, and even above the blood-colored chains, the illusory human souls struggled outside, but to no avail. These souls, impressively, it was branded on it abruptly, so that the soul was locked to form a hideous blood-colored pattern. It can be regarded as a kind of recognition for you to let me sacrifice the soul lock of my life. Knife-forging Thunder Valley Master, take your life. In the black fog, a violent aura emerged, and then the blood-colored chain, directly under its urging, brought a terrifying power to Du Tian Hong roared away. Wherever the chain went, the space collapsed, and a heavy emerged. God, thunder. Damn. Duo Tian Hong originally wanted to take this attack, but he thought that his body's vindictive energy was exhausted too fast, and what puzzled him the most was the blood-colored chain. When the blood-colored chains approached him, it seemed that the grudge in his entire body had solidified, and a chill appeared in his heart. And the source of this peculiar power is the mysterious lines formed by those human souls on the blood-colored chains. Ended. Bound of the blood sky. From the black mist, there was a heart-pounding frantic laughter, and then the blood-colored chains easily came to Du Tian Hong's side, and then completely surrounded and bound his body. Crash. Duo Tian Hong, who was bound by the blood-colored chains, madly drained his body, and even his soul power and his own aura were wilted in an instant, but at the same time as he laughed wildly in the black mist, Duo Tian Hong there was a strange smile on the corner of his mouth. No. Don't. At this moment, Xiao Yang and Du Chifei, who were constantly fleeing, let out a coquettish anger, and then a beautiful figure suddenly broke free from Xiao Yang's restraint, facing the restrained the place where Du Tian Hong was below exploded and shot away. This is a bad thing. On Xiao Yang's face, a shock appeared, and then his eyes locked on the black fog that was laughing violently in the sky, and the figure shot him away. Obviously, without Duo Chifei's knowledge, it was difficult to know what Duo Tian Hong wanted to do, and Xiao Yang only vaguely guessed that the specific plan was probably only known by Du Tian Hong himself. Duo Tian Hong, who was bound by the blood-colored chains, had a very weak breath. Seeing Duo Chifei's speed skyrocketing and coming towards him, he gritted his teeth viciously. It was obvious that he had not made it to this point. Xiao Yang, take her away. A cold snort filled the sky directly. Duo Tian Hong, who was bound by the blood-colored chains, couldn't exert any power and could only shout. Chifei, come with me. Xiao Yang caught up with Du Chifei after a while, and then blocked his way, and said solemnly. Whether Duo Tian Hong did it on purpose or for other reasons, this half-step 5-star fighting immortal soul guard was definitely not something the two of them could handle. Xiao Yang, I think you are a very good friend. If you are still my friend, please get out of the way. Du and Chifei's pupils were full of shocking killing intent, and a steady stream of thunder power continued to permeate. When he came out, Xiao Yang had a creepy feeling when he saw it. Chifei, believe me. Xiao Yang also said helplessly. It was obvious that Du Chifei at this moment had already been carried away by hatred. Get out of the way. After a few breaths, the thunder on Duo Chifei's body became more and more dazzling, and he shouted at Xiao Yang, who was standing in front of him. If he didn't save his father, he was afraid that his father would be in danger and he would have lost his mother. I can't lose my father. Offended. Seeing this, Xiao Yang gritted his teeth, then cast a vicious glance at the black fog behind Du and Tian Hong that was applying a stronger horizontal seal, and said, "None of you can escape." Dark fog fills the sky. An angry roar made a deafening sound like a fierce beast, and the strange black energy that covered the sky and the ground immediately flickered towards Xiao Yang's location. In the black mist, there is a sinister and strange aura. If it is contaminated at all, I am afraid that it will be assimilated immediately. Xiao Yang, how dare you? Duo Chifei couldn't help but be shocked when he noticed the sudden surge of soul power and vindictiveness in Xiao Yang's body. Yu Ming Tian trance. A crisp cry, and suddenly the soul power from the source of the ocean suddenly diffused out, and then under Xiao Yang's subtle control, attacked Du Chifei. Duo Chifei didn't think that Xiao Yang would do such a trick, and his eyes immediately fell into a dull state, but Xiao Yang's mastery of soul attack is very subtle, so it did not harm Du Chifei's other things. At best it was just to make she fell into a coma. Take her away. Until now, Du Tianhong's expression slowly showed a trace of pain. Where to run? Seeing Xiao Yang hug Duo Chifei, who was in a sluggish state, and ran away, Heiwu couldn't help but said angrily. He had just used the soul lock of his life to seal Du Tianhong, and he had injected a very tyrannical confinement and consumed a lot of power. At this time, it was undoubtedly difficult to deal with Xiao Yang and the two who were desperate to escape. Since I can't catch you, then I'll give you a big gift. Blood soul sword and crossbow. The strange figure under the black mist looked at Xiao Yang and the two who were farther and farther away, and immediately smiled slowly. A suffocating wave of terror brewed. I saw that the black fog that was attacking Xiao Yang and the two of them in the sky suddenly condensed in the void, and then turned into a blood-colored sword and crossbow the size of thousands of meters. Above the sword and crossbow, there was a trace of resentment of a lonely soul and a wild ghost, and an earth-shattering chill suddenly emerged. Asshole! 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 You let me go. That's my father. If I don't go back, he will die. I'm begging you. Feeling the weak aura in his body, a trace of tears appeared on Duan Chifei's pretty face immediately. His pupils were red, and he roared with a cry, and even his hands kept beating Xiao Yang's chest. Chifei. This time, just believe it. Master Forging Valley will be fine, I swear to you with my life. Xiao Yang, also a strong man, endured Du Chifei's beating and said softly. Don't look at Du Chifei's daughter, but the two-star Do Xian is a complete powerhouse, and in a state of absent-mindedness, every time he beats Xiao Yang's chest away, it is a great torture. Hey! Just when Xiao Yang and Du Chifei escaped from here, the sword and crossbow suddenly cut through the void without making any sound, and suddenly came to the two of them. It's too late. Xiao Yang's eyes snorted coldly, and then his eyes closed slightly. The first transformation of the dragon god was directly displayed, and a faint golden light appeared on the body, and then he turned over directly, abruptly. With his own body, he tried to stop the sword and crossbow. Humph. A mere two-star fighting immortal, actually trying to stop my attack, it's beyond your own power. Heiwu couldn't help laughing when he saw Xiao Yang's appearance. Xiao Yang's actions were tantamount to sending him to death. Wang buzzing. After a while, the space teleportation formation was completely condensed out. Somewhere in this space, abruptly squirmed, but at the same time as entering the space teleportation formation, the blood-colored sword and crossbow also quietly disappeared. 2. Boom. Originally, the attack point of the blood-colored sword and crossbow was Du Chifei, but at the critical moment, Xiao Yang turned around, and the target suddenly shifted. It hit Xiao Yang's body. The blood-colored sword and crossbow had just touched Xiao Yang's body, and was immediately blocked by a dazzling khaki flame and a faint golden light, but as time passed, the power of the two instantly became completely pierced. With a sound, the blood-colored sword and crossbow suddenly passed through Xiao Yang's chest like a stunned bow, and pierced Xiao Yang's body abruptly with a blood-colored skeleton. Xiao Yang's complexion was also pale, but even so, no one noticed that the inner wall of the skeleton on Xiao Yang's chest was completely protected by a trace of extremely strange black energy and golden aura. This power is similar to that of Soul Eater. The power of the Lord and the power of the first transformation of the dragon god. No. When Du Chifei saw this, a deep self-blame appeared on her pretty face. Go. Xiao Yang was hit so hard. Although he was seriously injured, he didn't care at all. He took Du Chifei directly and disappeared into the space teleportation formation, disappearing into this strange space. Hit by my blood soul sword and crossbow, the master of this holy flame will surely fall. Forge master. This time, I still won the battle. Ha ha ha. Seeing Du and Tian Hong being completely sealed, Xiao Yang was pierced out of thin air by his own blood soul sword and crossbow, and under the black mist, strange laughter could not be heard. Little guy, thanks to you this time. Seeing Xiao Yang and Du Qifei disappearing in the distance, Du and Tian Hong felt a little sadness in his heart. Xiao Yang and Du Qifei traveled through the handprints directly through Xiao Yang's space, escaping the terrifying space and heading towards the Thunder Pond. Xiao Yang, are you alright? In the void, looking at the obvious hole in Xiao Yang's chest, Duo Qifei's beautiful eyes couldn't help but be a little absent-minded, and a touch of self-blame emerged. Obviously, if it wasn't for protection just now for himself, Xiao Yang would definitely not suffer such a serious injury, but it is strange to say that Xiao Yang suffered such a serious injury, and the breath in his body was extremely stable, and there was no blood coming out of the hole. You said this? Seeing this, Xiao Yang shook his head slightly, and then the paleness on his face disappeared instantly, and even the hole in his chest was nourished by his fighting spirit, and instantly restored to its original skin. What's going on? Du Qifei asked with a look of surprise. The attack of the Soul Guard is really tyrannical. If it wasn't for the blessing of my master and my bodyforging technique, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to resist. Xiao Yang shook his head. The Blood Soul sword and crossbow are indeed tyrannical. If it wasn't for the protection of the Soul Eater Lord, I am afraid that just that blow would be enough to seriously injure Xiao Yang, or even kill him completely. However, with the protection of the Soul Eater, the Blood Soul sword and crossbow is like a child playing at home, without any lethality. Although it pierced Xiao Yang's chest, it did no harm to Xiao Yang. At best it was just some flesh wounds. It was just trying to deceive the Soul Guard, and for a pharmacist of Xiao Yang's level, the skin regeneration was only a moment's worth. Where are we going now? Du Qifei said slightly. Let's go to Lei Kai, and join the big army first. Xiao Yang thought for a while and said, after all, the space shuttle handprint can only lead to places that are close, and Xiao Yang has been. I'm sorry about what happened just now. I was too impulsive. Father should have his plans. Seeing that Xiao Yang's internal injuries did not have much impact, Du Qifei said immediately, don't worry, I have secretly exorcised the evil spirits from outside the territory in the main body of the valley. And the Valley Master didn't struggle deliberately in the end, he should have his auspicious plan. Xiao Yang smiled. Father, that's really amazing. Duo Qifei also shook his head slowly when he heard the words. Obviously, with Xiao Yang's reassurance, he was not afraid of anything. Thunder Pool. What happened to this Thunder Pool? I don't know, but the Thunder Pond should not have returned to normal. Mu Ji and his party have been entrenched in the Thunder Pond and did not go out hastily. After all, although the alien race was defeated, all the contestants returned to normal, but for safety reasons, is still entrenched in the Thunder Pool. Wong buzzing. Just as a few people were talking, Lei Kai suddenly squirmed out of the void, and two figures slowly appeared. Xiao Yang. Du Qifei. After the light dissipated, the contestants who were present couldn't help but be surprised. You guys are back. Mu Ji and Yun Qi went straight up and laughed. The shackles of Thunder Pond have not been completely lifted. The alien race has been subdued, but the next step is probably the real war. Xiao Yang said helplessly. Real war? How do you say this? Several strong men in the pastoral song also looked at each other and asked with a frown. It should be that some forces are preparing to attack Dongju. Xiao Yang slowly shook his head and said in the distance. Attack Dongju? After hearing this, many powerhouses couldn't help but take a deep breath. You must know that the number of powerhouses above Dongju alone is staggering, and the forces that can attack Dongju are also few and far between. Number. Forget it, let's get back to our peak state first. I'm afraid it will be a tough battle. After thinking about it, Xiao Yang didn't think too much, just sat cross-legged and started to regain his breath. This level of battle, I am afraid they are not able to intervene, but Xiao Yang, as the master of Christmas, if he needs his strength, then he will naturally be able to fight reluctantly. It seems that this is the only way to go now. The other strong men nodded slowly when they heard the words. Obviously, at this time, they had no other choice. Dongju, outside Lei Cheng. Outside the Thunder City, which was originally protected by countless thunder powers, suddenly a rare black mist emerged. Above the black mist, dozens of silhouettes suddenly appeared, and above each silhouette, there was a shocking evil atmosphere. Everyone, are all there? A man sitting on the throne said in the dark fog. The black robe behind him wriggled slightly, and above the black robe, a conspicuous sin came to life. In the black fog, there are two forces in total. The figure in the black robe is impressively the powerhouse of the Soul Palace. As for the sin depicted on the black robe, it is the powerhouse of the sin. Until now, the powerhouses of the sin and the Soul Palace have finally gathered together. Reporting to the sinner, all connections outside Dongju Lei Cheng have been cut off. Within a day, what happened on Dongju will not be discovered by any strong man. One of the black robes belonged to Sin. The figure said, "Okay. Well done. This trip to East Continent, naturally, your benefits are indispensable." The sinner on the throne smiled slowly. He was bathed in black robes, only showing a human-like angular face, and smiled. "How is the Yohuan clan now?" At the next moment, the sinner asked Zaidu. After all, their crime was to serve the evil clan outside the realm, although the Yohuan clan did not listen to the arrangement and acted without authorization. Reporting to the Lord, the 3 adults of the Yohuan family seem to have been sealed by the master of the Thunder Valley. The figure just opened his mouth slightly, and there was a smile in his voice. "The matter of the Yohuan clan, our Lord Soulguard, has already gone to deal with it, so the Lord does not need to worry. What adults should worry about is how to completely kill the powerhouses above Dongju. After all, there are no less than dozens of 4-star fighting immortal powerhouses here. Our current strength is not enough to deal with them." The man in the black robe of the Soul Palace said to the sinner, "This guy's strength is actually at the level of a 4-star fighting immortal, and he should be the leader of the powerhouses in the Soul Palace. As long as Tian Hong doesn't make a move, the mere 4-star fighting immortal is nothing but my dead soul under the sword." Xin Ji's eyes slowly became distracted, and he looked at Lei Cheng, who was under the protection of Thunderbolt. "Let's do it." After a while, the leader of the Soul Palace said directly. Crash. As soon as the voice fell, the sinner on the throne in the black mist stood up straight, and an extremely terrifying wave suddenly spread throughout the space. 5-star fighting immortals. The strength of this sinner has reached the ranks of the 5-star fighting immortals. Boom. The sinister's body just stood up, and a strange smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, and then an evil aura, like half of a demon crawling out of hell, suddenly emerged, and then directly hit Lei Cheng's protective shield. Lei Cheng is the most core place above Dongju. There are 8 major forces here. It is the most prosperous and the most powerful place in Dongju. What protects Lei Cheng is a special thunder shield made by Tian Hong himself. Hey! Countless evil forces emerged, and they attacked the thunder shield immediately. The thunder shield was like an enemy in an instant, and the silver thunder became bright, trying to resist, but after half a sound, there was a sound of crack and shattering, suddenly resounded through the sky from the space around Lei Cheng. And as the thunder shield protecting Lei Cheng was broken, Lei Cheng would also be slaughtered like fish on a chopping block. By then, this Dongju might be in trouble. Boom. With the shattering of the thunder shield protecting Lei Cheng, the entire Lei Cheng suddenly shook. Then, what is that? Do not know. It looks like a cloud of black air. Black chi. At this time, in the huge area of Lei Cheng, countless figures stopped their movements, and then stared blankly at the sky above Lei Cheng, looking at the constantly enlarged pupil in the pupil. Black spots, a touch of fear, emerged in my heart. What is this? Inside the Alchemist Association, several strong men stood quietly in the courtyard, but they looked at the black spots that were getting closer and closer in the sky, and a heavy touch emerged. The 3rd stage of the East Continent ratio should also be over soon, but before that, I'm afraid. And among the figures, a white-haired man looked at him and shook his head slowly. Vice President Tan Chen, what's wrong? The old men below were extremely puzzled. Although they sensed something was wrong, their souls were weak and naturally didn't know the truth. Pass my order and notify the City Lord's mansion and the other 7 major forces. The visitor is aggressive, and this battle is probably inevitable. Tan Chen shook his head slowly, but the smile of the past was completely replaced by a seriousness. I'm going to meet them and buy some time. Tan Chen's voice just fell, and his figure suddenly disappeared, heading towards Lei Cheng high in the sky. Seeing that Tan Chen, who used to be so serious with a smile, understood the seriousness of the situation and informed other forces without stopping. City Lord's mansion. Sir, something is wrong. All the people in Lei Cheng seem to be in panic. In the sky of Lei Cheng, something is approaching us fast. That kind of breath is too sinister and evil. And, the thunder shield was broken. A hurried voice suddenly came from outside the door, accompanied by the rapid speed of a guard. Elder Dufeng. What should I do? The City Lord asked in the first place. Obviously, he seemed to have expected this scene for a long time. It seems that it is really beyond the expectations of the valley owner. This day has come. Lord City Lord, please inform Leicheng's 8 major forces to jointly defend against foreign enemies. I will go to Forge Sword Thunder Valley to rescue soldiers. Dufeng also said seriously. But what makes Dufeng feel depressed is that since the start of the 3rd stage of the game, when he vaguely sensed the uneasiness in Lei Yicheng, he sought reinforcements from the inside of Forge Blade Thunder Valley, but there has been no news. Then I will trouble the elder Dufeng. Come on, pass my order. Call together all the strong to resist foreign enemies together. Orderly orders came slowly from the city lord. I hope this time, we can handle it in Dongju. The city owner nodded slightly. Obviously, he seemed to have known about this battle for a long time. After all, Duo Tian Hong wiped out an entire foreign evil clan due to the character of the evil clan outside the territory, which must be revengeful. This revenge is also a matter of time. However, Lei Yicheng, or the countless figures above Dongju, still respected the sword-forging Thunder Valley. After all, if it wasn't for Du Tian Hong, Dongju would have been completely bloodbathed by the Burning Soul clan. Boom! At this time, in the high sky of Lei Yicheng, the dazzling thunderbolts were instantly wiped out cleanly, and the black clouds and mists rolled continuously. The guy from Lei Yicheng! Come out and die! An extremely arrogant voice, accompanied by bursts of evil voices, echoed abruptly throughout the Thunder City. In the black fog at this time, there are dozens of sinful powerhouses left. As for the Soul Palace powerhouses, they are divided into 2 groups to attack the Thunder Valley. The area of Lei Yicheng is huge, and it can accommodate millions of human beings. Being so humiliated by this crime, the entire Lei Yicheng suddenly panic. Ha! I didn't expect to force a powerhouse at the level of a sinner. Just when the voice of the sinner just fell, a few voids wriggled strangely around the black mist, and then a tyrannical aura appeared out of thin air. These few auras just appeared, and the evil aura on the sinner's body suddenly weakened a lot. Tan Chen, Vice President of the Alchemist Association, Bing Qing, the Master of the Ice Soul Palace, Auction House owner Zhu Yinyuan. From the black mist, an unfathomable voice filled the air. It was obvious that the sinner had completely grasped all the information of Lei Yicheng before attacking. Sinner. It's really tricky. 3 figures came out of nowhere, and suddenly the strength of the 2 men and 1 woman, the 3 of them, even stepped into the ranks of the 4-star fighting immortals. It came just fine. This time, let's add the old and new hatred of the Burning Soul clan. Let's count it together. Without Du Tian Hong, I'll see how you guys deal with us. Seeing this, the sinner shook his head slightly, his evil eyes and the evil aura all over his body slowly wriggling, showing no sign of fear at all. This guy seems to have come prepared. Hearing the sinner say this, the other staff couldn't help but feel their hearts sinking. You 3 strong, but not qualified. Are there any other powerhouses? Let's go together, otherwise I'm wasting my time. Seeing that the strength of the 3 is only 4-star Do's Yan, the sinner has no intention of rushing to take action. 4-star fighting immortals wouldn't be much of a climate. Ha! The dignified sinner will also come to our East continent. If you don't show some good skills, it will be too disrespectful to you. A roar resounded from the sky, and suddenly silhouettes emerged from the void. Came out. There are 8 people in total, and the strength of the 8 people is in the ranks of the 4-star fighting immortals. The strongest has reached the late stage of the 4-star fighting immortals, and the weakest has also reached the strength of the early 4-star fighting immortals. Such a terrifying lineup, even if it is the crime of the strength of the 5-star fighting immortals. So, I couldn't help but be moved. 8 4-star fighting immortals. The power above Dongju is really not small. But, it's not enough. Seeing this, the sinner smiled with satisfaction, and a frenzied wave slowly spread out. In Lei Yicheng, except for the sword-forging Thunder Valley, these 8 forces are the most difficult to deal with, and now the 8 people are all the top people in their respective forces. As long as they defeat them, this East continent will be completely occupied. At that time, their goal has also been achieved. It's just a group of ants who use the power of foreign evil tribes to make a fortune. After all, they are just walking corpses. It seems that you can't wait to find death yourself. Then it's my fault. Do it. The sinner heard the words frowned, and the bright killing intent, accompanied by a circle of evil aura, suddenly spread throughout the space. Go. In any case, it is necessary to stop him. The 8 strong men were naturally unwilling to be outdone, looked at each other, and then said with hatred, they believed that with the strength of the 8 of them, although they could not obliterate the sinner of the 5-star fighting immortals, but blocked there should be no problem, and because of his trust in Du and Tian Hong, once he frees up his hands, They will definitely win this battle. This sinner should be the strongest of the Sin forces living in the largest stronghold on Dongju. Although the strength has reached the early stage of the 5-star fighting immortals, but for the sake of Dongju and the forces behind them, they cannot lose no matter what. This is a battle that can only be won and not lost. Boom. In the sky of thousands of meters in Lei Cheng, the minds of the 8 major forces all burst out with dignified fighting spirit, and then looked at the sinner in front of him with a solemn expression. Sir, the strength of these 8 guys should not be underestimated. Why don't we go together? In the black mist, a strong person who sinned slowly opened his mouth. No, just look at it. It's more beautiful to destroy the beliefs in their hearts a little bit than to obliterate the enemy directly. Since these 8 guys are Lei Cheng's last hope, then I will completely destroy it. At that time, the taste of despair is the best torture. After the sinner finished speaking, the black robe above his body suddenly burst out with a dazzling evil light. Do it. The 8 powerhouses glanced at each other, and then the shocking fighting spirit filled the air. Ice and rainstorm. With a cold snort, among the 8 people, the palace master of the Ice Soul Palace took the lead in launching an attack. She is an Ice-type powerhouse herself. Although she is a woman, with the help of the Ice-type enhancement, she can greatly reduce the speed of the criminals, giving them a good chance of winning. Crash. The voice of the master of the Ice Soul Hall just fell. At that time, a burst of colorless and transparent ice cubes suddenly appeared in the sky. Above these ice cubes, a terrifying force that made people feel scalp numb suddenly filled the air. Even under the cover of countless ice cubes, the void here is imprisoned. Nice attack. It's a pity. The sinister's face was full of jokes, and he said with a smile, with his 5-star fighting spirit, the 8 people in front of him, fighting alone, no one would be his opponent. The next moment, the black robe on Sin made his body shattered instantly, revealing the same appearance as a human being. This guy. Among the 8 people, the others did not stop, and the dazzling offensive was brewing in their hands. Only Tan Chen, the vice president of the Alchemist Association, seemed to notice something from the sinner's smile. Thing. Qingtang Immortal Lock. Perceiving this scene, the pavilion master of the wooden pavilion was also the first to bear the brunt. The green wood attributes of the sky emerged, and then in front of everyone, a 1,000-jong wooden lock was formed. A strong sense of crisis made everyone's heart sink. Attack. Among the 8 people, only Tan Chen's soul was powerful, so he was the commander of the battle. Boom. The dazzling ice cubes exploded abruptly in the void. The sound of the explosion that resounded through the heavens and the earth carried bursts of cold air, spreading the entire void, greatly reducing the speed of the sinner's movement. It is also like entering a realm of no one, suddenly whizzing away, passing through the space, all become restless. Nice attack. But don't forget, I'm the Fire Slayer, Yang Hua Tianli. The sinner didn't have any fear, and even a monstrous evil aura emanated from his bewitching pupils, and then shouted at the 8 people. Crash. As soon as the fire sinner's voice fell, in the strange black mist around him, bursts of hot red flames suddenly appeared. The red flames were like elves, jumping for joy, and then under his control, he took himself as the center. Like a crater, a steady stream of flame power spewed wildly in all directions. Boom. The flame energy that erupted like a volcano suddenly swept the entire void, and the deceleration of the vines and ice cubes was also instantly shattered. Fire Sinner. Isn't Sin always serving the evil race outside the territory, and can only use evil power? How can you still use the power of fire? Realizing that the fire crime made it easy to attack and crack them, the pressure suddenly increased. Although the forces in Sin serve foreign evil races, in the final analysis, they are still human beings. So it's not surprising to be able to use the power of flame. However, I'm afraid it's a little tricky. After all, this guy is a real 5-star fighting fairy. Furthermore, it seems that Thunder Valley of Forged Knife has cut off all contact with the outside world. I'm afraid they are also in danger. Tan Chen narrowed his eyes slightly and said solemnly, "If that's the case, then let's give it a shot." Hearing Tan Chen's seriousness, many other powerhouses laughed slowly. They are all the top powerhouses in their respective forces. Now that Thunder Valley is not there, the banner naturally falls on them. If that's the case, then come on. After everyone finished speaking, their hearts sank slightly, and then they laughed. After a while, a rare silver thunder was flowing slowly above the bodies of the 8 people, and under the flow of the silver thunder, the power of the 8 people seemed to be combined. Aren't you going to play anymore? Hua Xin Envoy was surrounded by evil black mist at this time, and even a circle of flame blessings, The power on it may be enough to destroy any 4-star fighting immortal powerhouse. Sir, be careful. It is said that the powerhouses above Eastern Continent know the power of combined strikes. The next moment, some voices were heard from the black fog in the sky. Huoguisho, let's have a showdown. The 8 people slowly opened their mouths and said in a majestic manner, if that's the case, let's have a showdown. Huosin Envoy also smiled slightly. Out of absolute confidence in his own strength, he smiled slowly. Array. Thousand Thunder Slaughtering Formation. The 8 people roared in unison, resounding through the sky. Boom. As soon as the voice fell, a lot of fighting energy, such as red light and green light, burst into Tan Chen's body, and a golden scroll in Tan Chen's hand was reflected in the fire crime. In the pupil of the make. The golden scroll looks extremely simple, but when it just appeared, it made Huosin make his pupils shrink. Of course, there is something on it that makes him so powerful. Leicheng's Great Defense Array? Aware of this scene, there was a coldness on Huosin's cheeks. Thousand Thunder Slaughtering Spirit Formation. The power of this formation can be vividly remembered. When duo Tian Hong dealt with the entire Burning Soul clan by one person, the credit for this formation was indisputable. Moreover, this formation was the most powerful formation that had truly killed 5-star fighting immortals. Boom. After a while, the power in the 7 people's bodies was slowly exhausted, but the power of Tan Chen suddenly soared to the point of the early stage of 5-star fighting immortals. Even the golden scroll formation in the palm also burst out with a burst of heart palpitations that destroy everything. With external force. Huosin made his heart become hot, but he did not stop it, but watched quietly. Burst out. Tan Chen ignored Huosin's movements, and then his eyes became deep, containing as many as 8 color energy beams, suddenly emerged from his body, and then injected into the golden array scroll in his hand. Although the power of this formation is tyrannical, it also has its drawbacks. The strength is less than 5-star fighting immortals, and it cannot be motivated, so there is this scene. Hey! After a while, golden rays of light burst out over the entire Thunder City, followed by silver thunderbolts, full of hundreds of feet in size, completely wrapping the entire sky, like a living giant net. It's interesting now. Feeling the power of countless silver thunders emerging around him, Huosin made his joking face suddenly appear solemn and said, "This video will end here.